Hi there, so this will be my first test at making a video about a video game. I've done some video before but for YouTube, but not this way, so please bear with me, guys. I hope you will enjoy it, but I have no idea what it will, if it will be good or not. So as you just saw, I'll be testing this closed beta of Anno 1800 with my quite old GTX 950, but I thought it ran quite well. I must admit, after quitting the game, I had to put the graphics a little down because it was not as smooth as I hoped, but I knew that I was a little below the specs. So right there I had to try I had to choose between guidance and less guidance, but since I've played all the previous Annos, I really wanted to try without guidance to try to see if I could find my bearings there. And right there I was actually quite surprised, but it was a welcome surprise. This kind of we choose a character. It's cool. It doesn't really as much as I saw. It doesn't really bring much. I didn't know even if there was any background for those characters. The symbols are not new, but yeah, I thought it was a nice touch. Not really a big deal. So actually, after playing a little bit over an hour, what I think about this game is, well, first of all, there are lots and lots of mechanics that works really like in 2205. I was not really surprised by any of the mechanics. It was kind of yeah, going back in terms of timeline, not in terms of fun, obviously, but I didn't play the Annos before 2005 since probably 2 or 3 years, but I was really excited by this game, really excited. And so, as you can see, since I'm starting without any guideline, any help, well, I thought, okay, let's try on normal, just to check this game out, not being crushed or in bankrupt in just a few minutes. So I'm keeping those loading screens because I really think they're beautiful. I think they did a great work trying to make people feel the period and feel what and when we are playing. It's not only those loading screens, as you will see very quickly if you didn't try the closed beta yet. It's really the ambience, the spirits of everything. You really you really can tell that really at the start of the game you're really at the early 19th century, sorry. Those people are poor and they are just basically living like in the years before 1800. Like it could be, I know, 1700 in terms of historical setting for an obvious reason. Like the Industrial Revolution didn't really start at this point. So as you can see right now, yeah, it's not 2205 anymore. It's clearly closer to the 18th century, and so you have to start really at the basics, getting wood. One thing that is new compared to Anno 2205 and 2070, of course, is that, yeah, you're back to really extreme basics. You don't have futuristic technologies anymore. You don't. You cannot fly. You cannot live on water. But that's actually okay. That's really okay too. I think. So as you can see, I was kind of looking around, trying to understand a few things. Basically, it really works, except for a few details, at least at the start of the game. It really works like 2005. So the menus are the same, they're just in different positions. You have buttons that are not exactly at the same place. So there's, as soon as you find where they are, it's not really difficult to understand. I must say, as you will see later in this video, I was lost a few times, but yeah, once you understand it, it's okay. One thing I found really nice was that now you find extremely like the lines. Not sure that's the right name, but basically the order in which you must build things for every production in different buildings. Well, it's with one button you will have a summary for that, and so that's quite nice. And you also have like a filter for every kind of citizen, like we saw in the previous ones. So farmers, workers, etc. I must say I didn't see after the workers for now. I just played 1 hour and I actually took quite my time. I didn't really much use the fastest speeds with this try, because I wanted also to look at the settings, that kind of stuff, and that was nice. One thing I was a bit surprised with, that the basic resource for consumption, wood, is not enough anymore, and so I made quite a mistake a little bit later. Is that I didn't get that you cannot store anything in your harbor anymore. Well, you can, but not in terms of basic resources. So I needed to build a storage building, and I didn't. So I've been playing for some times with and building some wood, and you will say that at one point I just end up without any planks, and but what is going on? What is going on? Well, it's just that I needed to build a building to store everything which is not the market and which is not the harbor.
If I see another biscuit.
Game saved.
So what about the settings? This is actually this 19th century stuff. That's the reason why I've been excited for this game for a long time. As soon as it was announced, I was really excited. I mean, it's not like I didn't enjoy the previous Anno games. So the early ones in the series, of course, I enjoyed them very much. When 2070 was announced, I didn't care for it. Actually, to be honest, for a simple reason, it was like I like post-apocalyptic stuff. I like those stories, but I don't play Anno for that. Even though it was nice to have a game, a management game, that allowed us to play a post-apocalyptic kind of game. But I don't know, it was kind of off, so I did play it, I did buy it a long time ago, but I didn't go really far with it because there was not the historic part. With 2205, I was really excited about the moon. That was my main point, and I played far more 2205, but there was still this lack of historical setting, and I love history. I'm really passionate about that. I read stuff about history probably every week, not every day, but every week.
Warehouse you do.
But so yeah, the thing I'm looking for in video games, especially in games like Anno, are things that are linked to economics, sociology, and philosophy. Because well, that's my main trade actually. I teach philosophy, economics, and sociology, so I'm really looking toward that. And the 19th century has always been fascinating to me because that's when everything's going on. There have been lots of great philosophers and great thinkers before the 18th century. Of course, is the Enlightenment is great. So much stuff to learn. So much great writers. So much great thinkers. And everything that has been built during the 19th century was because of the past 8,000 years. So it's not to say that people like Socrates and the Greeks didn't build anything. It's not that the entire antiquity didn't build anything. Absolutely, they built a ton of stuff. In the Middle Ages, a ton of stuff has been built. I must admit, I'm absolutely not a specialist about Eastern thinking, economics, and philosophy. That's not really the kind of stuff I've been studying or what I teach. So I have basics about what is going on in Japan, in China. But so yeah, I must say, like probably most people in the Western world, I'm mostly focused about what is going on in Europe and North and South America. So as you can see, I'm really looking around, trying to find my way around stuff, trying to understand how things work. I'll be using the I don't remember the name, but the relocation of building stuff quite a lot at the start. At some point, I will use it less because because my reflexes from Anno 2205 will come back. So yeah, that's also something I tend to do quite a lot in Anno games when I'm playing in sand mode. At the start of the game, I will just take the ship I have, and I'm starting always by the angles and the sides. I don't know why, I just like it. It's like I can see exactly what is going on the sides. Usually not much, but I have it's like a puzzle to me in my head, and after that I'm starting to use my ship to explore the inlands. I don't know why I do that. I like it. I think it might not be efficient if I was playing multiplayer, but I'm mainly a solo player, so the AI doesn't really bother me much in most Anno games. So yeah, that's the way I do it. Maybe it's weird. Maybe it's weird. Just say it in the comment. No problem. Probably lots of other stuff weird with my video. So please feel free to comment. Just be nice. It's my first one, as I said before. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was talking about the setting. So the setting is 19th century, and in a way that's not only a revolution in terms of industry and economics. For not the first time in the history of the world, but for the first time, a lot of people can think about something else than finding food on a really large scale.
You're tying the knot.
And There has been lots of other revolutions in the past. We know that 3,000 years ago, some societies find their way toward a standard of living as close as what we saw in Europe in the 15th and 16th century, with sewers and lots of stuff like that, a long time ago. But in the 19th century, the revolution is about everything. It's about everything. Like thinkers like Adam Smith and Jean-Jacques Rousseau and lots of authors like that. Sorry, I don't have all of them right now. But they really change our perception. Also because they have the time, and they're not just a few. Galileo, of course, brought a lot. Immanuel Kant brought a lot. But now there are a lot of them. When there was one or two or three great writers, maybe every 10 years. Now it's almost every year, because people are not starving anymore. People are getting new medicine. We know how to heal people. People can live longer, and we are starting to study psychology, and we're trying to understand how the human body really works without killing people in the back streets and after that selling it to the scientists and stuff like that. So scientists are not paying to kill people anymore. People are really trying to understand the world they're living in. And this is why the 19th century and the Industrial Revolution is, for me, an amazing setting. I mean, I've been passionate about this period for a long time, and that's why this game, Anno 1800, is the one I've been the most excited about ever. I mean, in terms of Anno games. The only game that could top that in terms of historical setting would be Victoria 2. Today it's kind of getting old. It doesn't stand against all the updates and the DLCs we get for Universalis 4, and that's kind of sad. But it's true that in a way the 19th century is not really popular in terms of gaming, because, well, the things are going in this period are not the best one for heroics or post-apocalyptic settings and stuff like that. So a management game during this period is quite rare. Even in terms of action, we have caricatures of it, like with BioShock. We have what else? Well, of course, we have Assassin's Creed Syndicate, a setting I love, really. But it's not much. We don't have a lot of games around this period. And so, a modern game about managing the 18th century and simulating how people feel and what is going on and how much the world is changing compared to previous games, and especially compared to Anno 1701, well, that's what made me so excited about this game. The amount of knowledge we got at this period really make any other period look long. Not uninteresting, but long. Like during the Roman Empire, yes, you would have periods with a lot of events happening, because it was a really developed society in terms of quality of life, in terms of knowledge and stuff like that. But there are still periods where you can study 10 years and Yeah, there are things happening in some small cities and in big cities like Rome, but do they change the course of history? Not really. In the Middle Ages, yeah, a lot of stuff happening, but you can look at some cities for 50, 60 years. There will be changes, don't get me wrong, there are changes going on. But in 50, 60 years, you can see three different generations and you can watch them and what people are saying about them and what the monks are writing about a specific part of the city, and you won't see a huge change. So yeah, it's true. One of the reasons for that is that we lack writings, and we will need to wait for the 15th century until we see a huge amount of writings coming back, enough to be able to follow all the changes. That is a big part of the reason why there are lots of parts of the Middle Ages and some parts of antiquity where we don't really know much about them.
Honest work, that's all we ask.
So as you can see now, I'm at last able to create some workers' houses. That's far better than the farmers. But actually I've been quite surprised by one thing. I don't know if you will notice it right away. I'm sure I didn't. I made quite a mistake sometimes down the line. Let's see if you will see it. I will probably comment about that. Yeah. So the rise of the workers, in a way, they didn't come alone. As you know, if you read Marx, workers are coming up with the bourgeoisie, as he called them. The people were rich enough to be able to buy some capital, some machines. And so we have a new social order in a way. And this new social order doesn't actually really make people happier. It makes them more efficient, but people are starting to think, well, what is my life about? That's not a bad thing, right? But people who didn't think about that a few decades ago, their parents didn't even care about that. The only question was basically the consequences of evolution. I have to stay alive. And even though in the 18th century we have a lot of people starting to have more time to think, most people don't have the time for that, because you have to find food, you have to put something in the hole of your house, because if you don't, you will freeze to death coming the winter. And where do I find the material? Well, I will just take some dirt, I will put some wheat with it, and I will put some water, and I will let it dry when it's the summer, and if I don't, we will all die. And in the 19th century, people were still living like that. They don't anymore. They're able to leave the farms, they're able to start thinking about, what do I want to do with my life? Why? Because they go to work in those huge factories, those uniforms, boring jobs. But why are they bored? How can they know they are bored? Because they are starting to be able to read, they are able to be able to think about themselves. They have options. They can be farmers and they can stay basically poor in the family's village, and they are starting to think, okay, what do I want with my life? Do I want to stay poor where my family has been for generations? Or do I want to leave? And even in that prospect, you had really a lot of choices. You had the choice that lots of people made before them, leave Europe and go in the new world and just settle there and build everything from the ground up. Or you could just go not that far. You don't need a boat, you just need a train, and or you go by foot or with a car with that is driven by a horse or carriage or something like that, and you get a new job in a factory. This is huge. This is huge because people are making a choice that that kind of choice would maybe is hard for someone who is currently living in a developed countries. I mean, if you're living in Western Europe or North America, probably excluding Mexico, but if you work in the US, Canada, or Western Europe, and you're thinking, okay, what do I want? To work and live in outside, or do I want to work in a factory with lots of smoke and stuff like that? Well, probably today you would say, we miss nature and stuff like that. That's not their perspective there. With money, they can get healthcare. They can get some enough to put on the side to care for their family, to pay for their kids to be able to go to school. That's something that was only available for some really rich people in the 18th century. The only kind of knowledge you could get in the 18th century and before was either if you're really, really rich, or it would be just the monk or the local priest that would bring you knowledge, and linked to religion, of course. But that was the only kind of knowledge that was available for those people. We don't really understand today when we just look at, the 19th century, it was awful. Lots of unions were not allowed. People were living in bad conditions compared to today. But compared to the thousands of years before, those people made the rational choice. What do I want? Do I want to work in a farm, or do I want to go in a factory? And they made this choice at first. Of course, there has been some unhappiness, strikes, and lots of changes since then. But they were able to make this choice, and they made it. So as you saw right there, I was really struggling with this warehouse, trying to find the correct place. I had to change it several times earlier before, probably noticed it, and right there again. And when I did find the right place, it was good. And now I understand a lot more about what's going on there. So those people who chose to go to work for a factory because they wanted to stop being poor, they were able to start thinking by themselves. There has been some knowledge before. In the 18th century, that's not for no reason that there has been so much revolutions in North America, obviously with the United States that has been founded. In France too, people are starting to know how to read before the 19th century, but now everybody starts to be able to use it. Basically, what are the American and French revolutions? Some rich people coming from very rich family who has been able to, each person, he has been able to learn how to read since childhood. That was a very small minority. Gutenberg came from there a few centuries before, and people have been able to start to read the Bible. And so more and more and more people have been able to read, and they are learning really quickly, actually. I have to shut myself there, because actually I was really surprised by this island. I mean, like those cliffs, they really look like it could be cliffs in the cliffs of Dover in England, and those hills, like it's a mix between really nice architecture from the 19th century and that we can see in London, in Berlin, in Paris, and at the same time, when you see the countryside outside of those ports that are really, really screaming 19th century, when you look at the countryside, it's like, I was like, okay, those small roads and stuff like that, yeah, I could have been back in Ireland where I lived for some time. It's like really nice. That's what they did great about the ambience in that game. They mix these really poor area that just starting to exist, where people are starting to live, and in the meantime there are those big, powerful buildings that scream the great cities that starts to spring in the 19th century. So I think I still need some time to see the difference that we can make inside one simple island and between two islands too. But I think they're really on the right path to make it really feel like we are living the history as it was made. And the fact that we actually need people from each stage of development. Like, we need the farmers. That's what is the mistake I told you about before. We need the farmers. If you put everybody as a worker, you're dead. Who will work the farm? So you have to make the choice for the people. It's not exactly as it happened in the 19th century, of course, but you have to make the choice. And if there are no more farmers, how will you live? You will not have the food, you will not have... the people will look for resources. Like, it's like, do you want today to live in a world where there are only executives? Yeah, probably. Everybody wants to be paid well. But you can't, because we need people who are working for the resources for now, until we have the technology to get resources with almost no one. And you still need to have executives on the other side. I'm not talking about the wealth or kind of thing right now. I'm just talking about the need to have people who do different things. And you can't have a population of executives, and I was really surprised about that, because maybe I'm wrong, maybe I didn't play 2205 in a really long time, and I forgot that it's like that in 2205. But as I recall, it was not the case in 2205. You just had to improve your houses. Now you have to make a choice, and basically you have to make the same choice as people did back then. And I love it.
Really, entirely marvelous to meet you. And
so
we may show
I actually saw the news about this new feature in 1800. I'm actually struggling, as you're seeing. I didn't know really what to do, where did I need to click to make things work. But that's actually on point. That was not really planned, but that's great, because that's really on point about reading and the fact that people are starting to read the news. And that's probably the greatest idea they had. The news have been, at this point of history, quite independent from the governments in a way that people were just chatting, and people were not able to. Most people were not able to read.
On paper.
And in the 1800, people are starting to have the money to send their kids to school, and there. Okay, you will help at the farm, but you have to go to learn, and so it changed a lot of things. First of all, most of our modern press is based around what happened at the end of the 18th century and at the start of the 19th century. Actually, even in France, some newspapers actually started in the 19th century and still exist today, and I bet it's the same in most Western countries, being in Europe or North America, and maybe in South America, and probably even in Asian countries. And so those people are able to read the news, and at first, well, the government were, okay, what is going on? We need to control that to prevent revolutions. And there have been a lot of revolutions, and that's something I still didn't see in the game, but I know it's important. So I'm really excited about this thing, and the fact that even when you print fake news, well, people are noticing, apparently. I didn't see the consequences of that. You saw just before that I did print some fake news, and well, it made people happier, but until which point? It's like people are not dumb. I don't think that ever in history people have been dumb. People couldn't read. Does it mean that in the 18th century or the 17th century or in the Middle Ages they were dumb? No, absolutely not. It's like kids are not dumb either. They just lack the knowledge. And we didn't have the means to bring knowledge to people at that time. And so people are starting to learn by themselves. They want to know how to read. And if you have kids right now who are saying, I don't want to read, well, don't worry. I think people want to have knowledge as long as you don't make it painful for them. So if your kid doesn't want to read right now, they will want. Look at this 19th century. People chose to learn. They didn't want to stay uninformed.
I had a job
Maybe now, more and more, they are starting to want to learn by looking at videos on YouTube. Maybe. They are expressing themselves in new ways. But before the 19th century, all of that was not possible. You could talk to the 100 or 200 people or 300 people in your village, and that's it. Not anymore in this century. And that's the setting of this game. So I don't want to bore you with so much history and philosophy and stuff like that. I've been talking about that for quite a long time now. So I think I made my point about why I'm excited about this game. So now I think I should focus more about the few features that I saw and that I didn't mention, even though I didn't see everything because I didn't play much for now, so I don't have all the details except for what has been published. But yeah, let's look at the features I saw.
That blooming turnip was the size of her head.
So I cannot really say I was surprised by anything. It's like you will not. I don't think anyone will be really surprised by things. Well, at least until you finish with the workers, you will not be surprised by anything you see. Mainly maybe those distance thing with the warehouses. I was surprised by that. But the missions, as you will see a little bit later, there are missions that are basically the same as we saw in the previous games. They allow you to do something else while your cities are working and you're gaining you're earning the money you need or the resources you need to build something new, and to gain some money in the process, but it's not really the main point of the game. We're probably back to the kind of wars we had before, but I didn't see that yet, though that's why we're going back to the basics there. So I'm waiting to see what the wars will be, but they'll basically be like what we had before 2017. No more missions far away with random attacks. Well, probably they will be random, but some jackass from the moon or stuff like that popping up ships in a big map where you have your main city or stuff like that. Apparently, I think there will be still no land wars, still wars only on water. So on that, they didn't change anything compared to 2205. What else? Yeah, as you saw, the exploration is the same as what we had in the past with islands. So overall, at this point in the game, we don't see really new stuff. There has been the newspaper stuff, some really small mechanics. You probably saw that you have more control with what you do with your fields, and that's nice. That's not a huge change, but it will allow us to make some more beautiful or not beautiful or ugly stuff if we want to. The thing that you need to keep farmers, workers, etc. You can't upgrade everybody. Well, actually, you couldn't in 2205, but you couldn't upgrade everybody because you had to have a minimum of lower buildings. I didn't notice for now a limit on the kind of buildings you need to upgrade, except the fact that if you do, you cannot produce resources anymore, basic resources. So I'm not sure we could say that it's a real limit. Maybe there is one, I just didn't see it, and I don't think I want to know for now. I will probably try. Just to know. But if it's a game you want to keep, well, probably you will not do it, because your city will probably start to die. I will try it though. So I've been talking for quite some time now about kind of a lot of topics. I hope you found that interesting, and I hope you enjoyed watching this game. If you're not allowed in the closed beta, I know I really enjoyed it. For now, it's not a lot so that I did, but I really enjoyed that time. It's like I know it's a lot more than I enjoyed Anno 2205. It's a lot more because I'm getting back to where I wanted the game to go. So I hope you that this video will have convinced you that you should take a shot at it. It's not out for quite some time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's April 16th, 2019. So you still have the time to think about it. I actually enjoyed making this video. I don't know if you guys will, but if you did enjoy it, please please comment on that. I want to continue to try making some of those during the next few days. Actually, I will have a lot of work in the next few days, but if I'm able to, I will try to make new videos. Maybe shorter. Maybe it was a bit long for a first video. Anyway, I will try to make a few new ones to show you what the game looks like when you go a little farther in the game. Probably some other YouTubers will do it. Yeah, please, if you enjoyed the video, please tell me. If you didn't, you can tell me too. Why didn't you like it? And yeah, if you liked it, please click on the like button. If you didn't, you feel free to click on the dislike button. I don't care if I'm shooting myself in the foot right there. And well, when I do more videos, because I enjoyed it, so I will do more videos. When I do, I hope to see you back and really continue to film yourself about the game. And if you enjoy it, I hope you buy it, because I think I will. I'm almost definitely sure I will. I thought I would even before playing the beta, and yeah, I will probably. Yeah. Anyway, please feel free to continue watching the video. Still a few. Sometimes just enjoy what I'm trying to do, even if it's not always smart. And please feel free to make your own opinion about the game.
Every ship needs a stiff rudder.
Game saved.
Throw it in the furnace.
Hope it's not gruel today. More's the merrier.
You're tying the knot. Never.
New unionism is our future. Us filings swept into an iron tide. The rattle of the workers. Freedom and equality for all.
hot on my lump.
A farm? We know fields.
With a lark this morning, I was.
That bloomin' turnip was the size of her head.
Goodbye and good riddance.
There be potholes, so watch out.
Watch your fingers, lads.
Should have been a sailor.
So lovely to meet you, dearie. But a word of advice. Always watch your back. If you want to get ahead, keep on the move.
Flagship awaiting instructions.
New unionism is our future. Us filings swept into an iron tide. The rattle of the workers. Freedom and equality for all.
I am Heshua Princess Jing. My father and mother sent me as an ambassador.
Name say.
Willie Wibblesock, self-made man, no shame in it. Wibbly if you like. How it'll be in the fairy tales.
I've got it all over my hands now.
My basket is flowing over. Oh, should have seen her face.
Flowers for the lady.
No, it is upsetting.
My basket is flowing over.
Respect your betters, and always help them out. I'm not as scary as you thought, eh?
Her Majesty leans on me to detain any who defy
Flagship at
her
your service.
sovereign laws, including...
Flagship commencing escort.
A few murmurings down the Union.
Port ho!
Game saved.
But someone has to do it. Attention for the Admiral.
Hang on a minute. Isn't that one of mine?
Aye, aye.
The sea breeze.
Flagship at your service.
Can't you feel the shrimps?
Attention for the Admiral. Coordinates plotted.
Fetid, festering filth. Throw in the furnace. You're tying the knot. Never.
Look at you, back on dry land.
Assuredly, she's a fine ship. Red sky morning. Shepherd's warning.
So, this is
Mountains moving. I don't expect you'll show mercy.
Belay that blunder!
Don't leave a man to the sharks.
She's a fine ship.
I'm confident it's ready to go. Flagship at your service. I'm really much better at self-editing on paper. Uncompromising journalism.
Steersman!
I too hope to spread good and truthful
Rudder!
news.
Ordnance plotted.
Rudder! On our way. Sails! On our way. Rudder! On our way. Sails! Rudder! Rudder! Enemy sighted! Rudder!
Aim saved.
New orders?
Ship under attack.
Prepare the fire! On our way.
Ordnance plotted. Ordnance plotted.